Hi everybody. I had promised I was going to talk a little bit about this, and I apologize that it's Friday before I'm getting to this. But I wanted to touch base on the quality project and how everyone is doing. So this week we are going to be working on the second phase. And what you're doing, and I have on the screen here the handout from the group project. And for phase 2, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing in paragraph format what type of chart each section would be using. So if scanning, for instance, had 3 to 5 performance measures. So look at your performance measures, who's ever in charge of that area, and look at chapter 4, read chapter 4, and find what chart or bar graph or line chart would best fit your specific performance measure. Now this phase 2, is only supposed to be 1 page. So each section, if you have a paragraph talking about your 3 to 5 measures and what chart or graph would best fit that measure and showing your results, that's all you need to have for phase 2. It's going to be in written format. You do not at this time have to create an actual chart or graph, but what you're going to do, and I have that in writing here in parentheses, is that in your final presentation, in your PowerPoint, you're going to have to come up with at least one of them that you are going to create one, and you're going to have that in your final presentation. So maybe for filing, you decided you're going to do a chart or a graph on something, and you want to pull it from phase 2, that's what's going to be in your storyboard in your final presentation. At this point for this week, all you have to do is review chapter 4, look at your performance measures, and summarize for me in 1 paragraph for each section what type of chart or graph you're going to use. And some people have asked, what can they use just 1 chart or graph for all the measures? You could. I don't want to see in the final presentation that you're going to have all 3 performance measures showing up in 1 chart. What that means is that you could use the same type of chart for each performance measure. Each measure should be separate. But yeah, you could if you wanted to, but let's be creative. I mean, we're using our imagination here. So maybe a line graph is going to work for one of your measures, but a bar graph will work for another. So definitely try to be creative and think of different ways you might be able to use some of this information and show us that. And I did want to talk briefly about the performance measures. The ones that I had reviewed, many of you I asked to please send me again your rework on that, so you can email it to me. You can submit it in Blackboard, but I definitely want to see, if I told your group I wanted to see your performance measures again, you need to send them to me so I can look them over, because I want to make sure you guys are on the right track with this. So please do that if you haven't yet. And then from a third phase perspective, which is starting on Monday, what you're going to be doing is looking at what type of model you want to use for your areas. And what this paragraph here is talking about, the entire department, maybe you as everybody in your department, scanning and billing and coding and filing, etc. You all want to use 1 model based on reading chapter 5. You can definitely do that. But if you want to break it down, and you're starting to see some crossovers between areas, so maybe coding and billing, because they're working together, and maybe even transcription, maybe they want to use 1 model, and scanning and filing want to use a different model. So kind of talk each other to each of your groups. Make sure you're all communicating about each other's groups, because there are some overlap. If you haven't caught on to that yet, we're seeing some relationships that are going on between different sections of the department. So what you will need to submit for phase 3 will be talking about what model you're going to be using for each section, if it's going to include 1 model for everyone. Talk about the pros and cons, how this will affect the staff as you work through it. And this should be about 1 to 2 pages. And if we need more help with this next week, definitely let me know and we can touch base on it. But you should all become experts on certain models, because that's what your research paper is going to be on this coming week. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email, or you can catch me in the hall somewhere. I'm up in Appleton next Thursday for class. Have a great weekend, everyone.